What are leaders like in Anglo country? In the world there are different types of leader. Today we will talk about the Anglo leader. Anglo leaders value performance orientation above all other characteristics, are aware of the importance of developing cultural intelligence, and tend to be opportunistic, and in this region the leader is appreciated for being decisive and demonstrate flexibility in achieving objectives. Despite being somewhat individualistic, this leader makes sure to consult with team members on decisions to ensure that everyone is in the same boat. In addition, opportunistic leaders tend to be ambitious and not very risk-averse. On the other hand, leadership in Latin America is less an authoritarian vision, which has caused from the social point of view that people are always asking for someone to come and solve their problem, for a boss to come and save them. This model, born from the conquest, is the authoritarian model that has been perpetuated in the political, economic, and social culture. Moreover, there are no perfect models, since each country has its own characteristics and faces different problems. In Anglo countries, however, things are very different. Their form of leadership is more performance-oriented. An Anglo leader has the ability to inspire and motivate and expect high-performance results from others. On the other hand, leadership in Latin countries is team-oriented. They like to work in groups, they promote loyalty and collaboration among the members of the organization.
An example that reflects this situation can be seen in a leader who must go to do business in the United States. To be considered a good leader by the potential customer or partner, it is necessary to show yourself as a decisive person who makes decisions quickly and is able to correct a problem easily or as quickly as possible. You must also understand that the way you lead in your country is different from the way you lead in the target country. It is important to emphasize that it's not about changing your way of thinking every time you get on a plane to do business abroad, but to prepare and understand the way others act and know how to adapt to do it.
While it's true that there are many similarities in the way Anglo countries live, there are also differences in how they act and communicate. Culture is a factor that affects and changes what people value in a leader. Now, if we talk specifically about Anglo leadership in company, we can say that most of them are autocratic, visionary, opportunistic, democratic, and participant leaders. But as we mentioned before, cultural is a factor that can make it very even if they belong to the same cultural group. For example, in the United States, the leader is the example, the person who represents the company value. His goal is to get his people to embrace those values and then let them go it alone. In contrast, in England, leaders go with you along the way. They are seen as a kind of problem solver whose value depends on how they solve problems. In Canada, a leader is more diplomatic, as much importance is given to communication based on sensitivity and empathy, not only to get along with the leader but also to work at ease.
Impact of government and society on leadership practices. Latin American and Anglo-Saxon countries have some common traits and others that distinguish them, as well as their form of leadership. One characteristic they have in common in their form of leadership is that they seek to improve the living condition of the population. Linguistic is not the only difference between the two forms of leadership. Anglo-Saxon society adapts easily to technological progress and the generation of new risks. With globalization and the development of democracy, the panorama has opened up, allowing investments to be open to the world. Society itself demands more, and it's time for politicians and businessmen to live and face the social, economic, and political challenge in the community in a different way. In In the business world, the position of leadership has fallen into labels and easy receipts to be a leader to be successful, rich, and visionary. That will generate a position, power, and influence, which in the end is the business phase of that authority and burden that we have been dragging in our cultures. Anglo-Saxon leadership is based on having flexible leaders with the ability to adapt and find solutions to unforeseen situations. It's considered a type of potential leadership that benefits the company by providing quick solutions to obstacles. Thank you.
The Glove Project. In this topic, we have six leadership dimensions. The first is charismatic, team oriented, participative, human oriented, autonomous, and self protective. The first dimension is charismatic leadership. The characteristics are ability to inspire, ability to motivate, is based in values, and the leader expects high performance from others. The values of the leader are visionary, inspirational, decisive, and passionate. The Anglo-Saxon group has the greatest preference for this type of leadership, with countries as United States, Canada, Great Britain, Australia, and Ireland. The second dimension is team-oriented leadership. The characteristics are ability to build teams. They implement a common purpose, promotes loyalty, and promotes collaboration. The values of the leaders are collaborative, integrating, and diplomatic. The Latin group has the greatest preference for this type of leadership, with countries as Brazil, Chile, Guatemala, and Mexico. The third dimension is participative leadership. The characteristics are the leaders may implement and decisions, promotes participation and equality, and delegates. The values of the leader are active listening, non-autocratic, and flexible. The Germanic Europe group has the preference for this type of leadership, with countries as Austria, Germany, Netherlands, and Switzerland. The next dimension is human-oriented leadership. The characteristics are the leaders are supportive, promotes compassion and generosity. The values of the leader are tolerant, sensitive, and patient. The South and Confucian Asia group has the preference for this type of leadership, with countries as India, Iran, China, and Japan. The next dimension is autonomous leadership. The characteristics are the leaders are independent, they don't trust in others, and they have an unique and special behavior. The values of the leader are individualistic, independent, and unique. The last dimension is self-protective leadership. The characteristics are the leaders ensure the group's safety, they serve the status development and protect the appearance. The values are status conscious and face savings.
I'm going to provide an example of how Anglo and Latin American leaders have a leadership indocracy. However, before I begin, I will define what indocracy is. It is the way of being of one person that distinguishes him/her from another. For this case, we are using the different forms of leadership that the following leader have. On the Anglo side, I will mention Queen Elizabeth II and Diana, oh well, mostly Princess Diana or Lady Di. On the other hand, on the Latin American side, I will mention Pope Francis and Michael Bachel. We start with Queen Elizabeth II. Thanks to a report from Forbes, we know that the Queen is an honorary man. This term refers to a woman who achieves a status of power that makes them equal, but without posing a fear to patriarchy. That the name is very sexist, we will not longer into that subject. In the region of Queen Elizabeth II is characterized as democratic. Every voice, every word, is heard. For this is based on conscious and the participation of all. Princess Diana of Wales, since she was with Prince Charles, was noted for her excellent skills of being a good leader by influencing communities. All the people want to be by her side because she inspired confidence and security. Diana of Wales was a very intelligent woman, so much so that she was insolent to question the already established opinion, giving way to a good ability in people. Princess Diana can be considered as a charismatic leader. Okay, on the side of in Latin American leaders, we have a Chilean, Michelle Bachelet. She is a woman who has the things clear. Bachelet is a former minister, former head of state, pioneer of the United Nations Women's Program, and in 2015 she was a president-elect in Chile. Her personality as a leader is charismatic. Her ability is to listen to the people and not to give hostile words to her opponents.
Conclusions. The leadership in Anglo countries is autocratic, visionary, and opportunistic. Anglo leaders expect high performance results from others. They are more direct in business. The Latin and Anglo-Saxon countries have some common traits and others that distinguish them, as well as their form of leadership. In the business world, the positioning of leadership has fallen, and the leader is the business face of that authoritarian burden that we have been dragging in our cultures. A leader to achieve success abroad has to adapt to the culture of the country where he is working. Women are taking the leadership that wasn't there before or was very empty. Women's leaders tend to be more emphatic to the people or more democratic, as in the case of Princess Diana or Queen Elizabeth II.